Why Gay Men Can't Find Love. Hey guys, Michael Pizzullo here, psychotherapist in West Hollywood, working mostly with gay men. So if you ask a lot of guys what their biggest complaint in life is, they will say they can't find love. They're struggling with dating, they're on the apps all the time, they've either, been in relationships or, for whatever reason, they just can't quite find the right guy. And, listen, there's no magic formula for finding love. It's a chemistry thing, it's a timing thing, there's so many factors that go in. But I will say that there are 5 things I notice so many guys do that sabotage their success. So I want to give you the 5 reasons why I think that gay men stay single when they don't want to be. The first one is just the grass is always greener. So, in this day and age of apps, there's just so many options. You open up an app in any city, you're gonna find dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds of people to choose from. I think the problem a lot of gay men fall into, and I think part of this might come from just being in the closet or feeling like they've missed out on years of dating and exploring, is that they never wanna settle down because they always think something better is out there. And while I do think this is true for all people, this syndrome, I do think it's particularly pronounced in our community. So I would offer that to start. The next one would be wasting time on the wrong person. So, yes, you should give people a try and so on and so forth, but I'm sure if you look around most of your friends, you'll notice that they spend a lot of time dating the wrong person for them. And it's not always that the person they're dating is so awful, although sometimes they might be, but they're just not right for them. And they will, waste months or even years in this relationship that is doomed from the start, and then they end up single again. And the reason they often stick with it is because they don't want to be single, but they end up just wasting so much time that would have been better spent looking for the right person. So that's the second thing. The third thing is just a bad attitude. I think a lot of gay guys feel kind of burned, and they have a very pessimistic outlook on gay culture, dating, gay men in general, and they kind of just feel like it's hopeless. They don't think they're ever gonna meet anyone, and they don't see successful relationships in their friends. So they kind of have a shitty attitude about the whole thing. And I feel like this really interferes, because what ends up happening is that they will meet someone who's kind of nice, or at least worthwhile, or at least worth giving a try. And they bring this pessimism with them to the date or to the relationship, and it kind of sours it before it even starts. So I would really consider what attitude you're bringing. And it's not about being, toxically positive, but just being realistic and not bringing sort of a pessimistic, negative perspective to the interaction before you even get there. Then I would say the fourth one would be unrealistic expectations. And by this, I don't mean like they have to be a perfect 10 supermodel or anything like that, or I only date, the hottest guys in the world. But what I mean is unrealistic expectations in terms of what the relationship will give you. I think a lot of people feel like, when I find the right person, my life's just gonna be perfect, I'll be complete, I'll right off into the sunset, kind of like a fairy tale ending. And that doesn't happen, because it's not supposed to happen. But what often they experience is that they're dating someone good and they're getting, they have a good relationship, but it's not this fantastic Disney romance. And so they feel like it's not right, and they quit. And I think having these expectations that someone else is supposed to complete you, or it's supposed to just be, no problems, or people make these lists of all the criteria I demand that my partner has, which is basically they have to be perfect at everything and have no problems. I think these kind of expectations will set you up to fail. They will limit your list down to pretty much no one. So I wouldn't do that. And then the last thing I would say, and this is huge in the gay community, is chasing a trophy, not a partner. And what I mean by this is, oftentimes people use their partner as a source of validation, and kind of in a narcissistic way of, my worth is reflective of the kind of person I'm able to get. So if I'm able to get a partner who is attractive and rich and successful and all that kind of stuff, then it reflects well on me. And I think what ends up happening is a lot of gay men look for that. They're looking for kind of like the eye candy type, the one that's gonna look good in photos, the one that's gonna, be very Instagrammable. And there's nothing wrong with liking attractive people or going for your type. but they're using their partner as a means of fulfilling their own self-esteem deficit. And this is really problematic because it will not work. It's just flat out gonna fail. Even if you do get the perfect 10 that you're looking for, posting a bunch of pictures with you and them is not going to fulfill all of your childhood traumas and wounds. It's just not gonna happen. But more often than not, what ends up happening is that people just keep dumping people because they're looking for a shinier and shinier trophy. So it ends up being very unsuccessful, unfulfilling, and I would highly recommend not falling into that trap. So those are the 5 things I would say to look out for. I really do believe that relationships are great, partnership is great. I do think that most people tend to be happier when they are partnered, so I really believe in the construct. You obviously don't have to be, but ultimately what I really believe is that if you want to be in a relationship, you can be. I don't think anyone is prohibited from that, or that it's a luxury that only some people are afforded. But I do think there are a lot of ways that we get in our own way and sabotage our own progress in, dating and romance. So anyway, those are my pieces of advice. I hope this was useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to get more, advice and tips like this. Please feel free to like and share this video. And if you want to reach out to me directly to talk about working together, you can contact me in the link in the description. And I appreciate you all checking this out. So thanks, guys.